Good afternoon, governors, and welcome to the Madness in March edition of our student-driven live studio show. I'm your host, TJ Carillon, and today we're diving into all the madness that went down in March. It's been a month full of surprises, from wild upsets in March Madness to a shocking college wrestling defeat. And of course, who could forget John Cena doing the unthinkable and turning his back on millions of fans after 20 years of hustle, loyalty, and respect. Then we'll discuss the Titans landing the #1 draft pick and what it means for the franchise's future. We'll also be taking a closer look at APSU basketball and breaking down their season and discussing what's in store for next year. While APSU won't be in the big dance this time around, there's still plenty to talk about when it comes to the team's future. I'm joined by my analysts, Julian Ali, William West, and the great Joseph Brock, and we're ready to unpack all the madness from this month. Stick around, it's March, and anything can happen.
This team, it'll be interesting what kind of start they get off on, but you're right there. Nice balance.
Let's dive into the madness that has been this year's NCAA tournament. What have you got for us, Will?
Appreciate that, TJ. Starting with the men's tournament, the Sweet 16 is now set, and it's been a wild ride. The top seeds have mostly held their ground, but we've also seen some shocking upsets. Number 12, Colorado State knocked off number 5, Memphis, and number 11, Drake surprised everyone when they knocked off Missouri. Then there was number 10, Arkansas, who managed to defeat number 7, Kansas in a thrilling 79-72 win. And number 12, McNeese, and also stunned number 5, Clemson, with a narrow 69-67 win. I know that broke up a lot of brackets. But it's not all upsets. The heavy hitters, Florida, Duke, Kentucky, and Alabama, are all still alive. And they'll be looking to make a deep run into the tournament. This is shaping to be one of the most exciting roads to the Final Four we've ever seen in years. TJ?
Thanks, Will. Brock, what are your thoughts on the tournament so far?
Man, it's been a real good tournament. In the early rounds, we've had a couple upsets, Cinderella's, squeaking through and everything. But now that we're getting down into the nitty-gritty, into the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, that's when, your blue bloods or your big teams come through. Like tomorrow night, you got a big matchup between Kentucky and Tennessee, which Kentucky's beat Tennessee twice this year, once in Knoxville and then once at Rupp in Lexington. So that's going to be a really good game. And, just all the Arkansas and Texas Tech. I mean, who would imagine that one? The SEC putting 14 schools in, and then over half of them are still in the tournament, trying to make it to the big dance.
All right, well, Brock, Jude, do you have anything to add?
Man, it's been a crazy past month, with the teams that you thought would have won, the teams that you knew weren't going to have a chance, and then you have the players that are showing up and making big changes and big differences in these games to actually, win. And, it's just fun to watch, and it's exciting because, this month is probably one of the craziest months. You got March Madness, and you got the draft all right now, and everything going on. So you're just paying attention, just on the edge of your seat, just trying to get it all in.
All right. Well, thanks for your comments, gentlemen. Now turning to the women's side of the tournament. There's been no shortage of standout performances. Isaiah James, NC State lit up the scoreboard with 26 points and a win over Michigan State. Paige Bucklers of UConn matched her career high with 34 points and a dominant performance against South Dakota State. We're also seeing some amazing individual efforts from UC, who scored 36 points in a win over Mississippi State. Cinderella stories have been a bit quieter this year on the women's side. We're still having some surprises. The Sweet 16 is dominated by teams from major conferences like the SEC and the Big Ten. The question now is, can or whether any of these teams can keep the underdog spirit alive as we head into the later rounds. And I just want to open this up. What do you guys think so far? Will, what about you?
Well, as far as the women's tournament, there's been a lot of, not really Cinderella stories, but there have been a lot of upsets. As you saw, Juju Watkins tore her ACL for USC, and a lot of people thought she was the best player going into the tournament. So that's heartbreaking for USC. I hope they can keep the drive and the momentum alive as they, even though Juju tore her ACL, they still, blew out the water of Mississippi State, number 9 Mississippi State. So Juju Watkins is definitely a story to look at. Also, look at Paige Bueckers. Since she's been hurt, for the last, she was hurt last year's tournament, and I think the tournament before that. So she's going to be making a comeback. So I think this women's tournament is going to be really exciting.
All right, what about you, Ju?
I mean, it's exciting just to watch it all, and UConn with Paige, watching Paige, I've seen her from TikTok and social media these past couple of years, so I didn't really know who she was until social media, obviously, but being able to see what she's able to do and what she's capable of now, it's insane, and being able to watch it, so it's very fun.
All right, well, thank you. Add on this.
So, one of the big matchups I think to watch is the Texas-Tennessee game, both big SEC schools. The last time these two teams played, Texas blew out Tennessee because Tennessee, on the defensive side, couldn't catch a rebound. So, the coaches, Coach Holly this week has, been pressing, rebounding. That's all they constantly worked on. She's posted all over their locker rooms, all over the court floors, just anywhere the girls would be, just rebound. So that's a big game to watch to see if Tennessee actually rebounds and actually could pull the upset against Texas.
All right, well, thank you for your insight, gentlemen. Off the court, there's been some drama as well. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to our social media expert, Mr. Julian Ali.
Thank you, TJ. UConn's men's basketball coach, Dan Hurley, made headlines after a video surfaced expressing his frustration after a following loss. The video went viral. UConn's communications director was forced to apologize to the reporter who captured the moment. It's just another reminder of the high stakes and intense emotions that come with the March Madness. On a more serious note, St. John's player R.J. Lewis Jr. made a decision to delete his Instagram after facing online harassment following his team's loss to Arkansas. It's unfortunate to see such negativity directed at players during what should be a time of celebration and competition. It's something we'll definitely continue to watch as the tournament progresses. And in some NIT action, Chattanooga made history advancing to the Final Four for the first time in program history. The Mocs staged an incredible comeback, overcoming a 16-point deficient to defeat Bradley 67-65. It's a huge moment for the program and a reminder that while the big dance takes all the attention, and there's still plenty of drama happening outside of the NCAA tournament.
All right, Ju. Now, following off that, social media is a huge part of athletics now and the whole culture of the game. Obviously, game day posts are lit up. There's people that post stuff every single day. What effect do you guys think it has on the players of the game?
I guess we're starting with me. So what it has effects on the game, because a lot of people bet on these games. Sport, FanDuel, DraftKings, but a lot of people bet on these games, and that puts a lot of pressure on our young college athletes, and them not hitting a bet, or them not getting a certain amount of rebounds, them not getting a certain amount of points, assists, steals, whatever you bet on, that makes people go crazy because they lose money when they do that. So I think especially with social media, you can you follow somebody on social media, you can try to DM them on Instagram and try to get in contact, hey, why didn't you get my 5, 6, 7 rebounds? Why didn't you get my 25.5 points? So it's really just I ain't gonna say it's sad, but it's definitely taking a turn where we've been for the past decade for especially with the increased betting of the world.
All right, well, thank you, Will. What do you think, Brock?
Man, I think social media in sports, sometimes it can be good, but if the fans are harassing the kids, that's not right. Because yes, they are with the NIL and deals and stuff like that. Now they're being paid like they're pros, which that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, back with social media, man, they're still just kids, still playing a game. I think, some people, before you send hit that send button, you need to just take a second, reread it, maybe calm down a little bit, because, it does, it could hurt a kid's self-esteem or confidence and, mess him up for the rest of his life.
All right, well, what do you think, Ju?
Social media plays a big role on, society, how we move and how we operate today. And, social media impacts a lot of these kids' mental and how they operate and how they go on their day-to-day basis. So I think, people just need to take a moment and, they want to win too. It's not like they wanted to come on the court and they wanted to lose the game. They wanted to win. They put their all into it. They get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to practices and have overtime nights to learn the game and do all this. So, I think people just need to, take a moment and realize, like Brock said, these are kids at the end of the day. Some of them are just now turning 18. Some of them are 20 years old. And, people tell me that, your mind isn't fully developed until you're 25. So imagine all of that hate that you're getting at 20 years old, 18 years old, 17 years old, just trying to play the game that you loved, and that's all you really wanted to do. So I think social media definitely plays a big impact, and people just need to lighten up. Not lighten up, but, like you said, take a step back and think before they say. So.
All right, well, those were some very wise words, gentlemen. Completely agree on all of that. And other NCAA news, an upset at the 2025 NCAA Wrestling Championships. Gable Stevenson, the Olympic gold medalist, was defeated by Wyatt Henderson, with Henderson securing the last-minute takedown to win 5-4. It was such a surprising turn of events, especially given Stevenson's dominance in the sport. After the match, Stevenson showed incredible sportsmanship, but now fans are left wondering, does this loss mark the end of Stevenson's reign, or can he bounce back? Will, I'm going to open this up to you. What does a loss like this typically do to such a high-level athlete?
Well, what it does to an athlete that has been dominating the game for so long, it definitely stings. I would tell you that it definitely stings to know that you've been dominating at this game your whole life, ever since you started, and now someone has eclipsed you. I mean, even though it's only just one time, it still hurts. Like, I can think back when Tiger Woods was dominating golf for a very long time. Then, somebody beat him. Serena Williams in tennis, she was dominating for over a decade, and now somebody beat her. But it definitely takes a toll on the athlete, and I believe he'll come back from it.
Well, and that just goes to say, any wrestler will tell you this: anyone can be beat any day. It's not a team sport. You have the off day in wrestling, you're probably going to get beat.
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
that's the fact of it. Wrestled in high school, same weight class. I mean, this is completely different, though. We were just some big husky kids. These are some grown men. These are some big grown men. So just wanted to add that, too. It was crazy. He goes in, got the eyes of the champion.
Yeah.
There's a lot to gain for one person and not so much to gain for the other. And it just goes to show, stuff can change like that every day. Now, Ju, I want to ask you this. Ju, what do you think is the next for Stevenson after such a dominant reign? I mean, 73 winning streak, a gold medal, and multiple NCAA championships. Does he come back meaner and stronger, or does he take his ball elsewhere? There was talk about a WWE signing not too long ago. Is that the move?
Man, honestly, I think he comes back. No one wants to go out on a lose or a loss, and as cool as the WWE is, we all know WWE is staged. It's fake, you know what I mean? And as good as the paycheck is, everybody wants to still do something they love and be able to feel like they have control of it. And with WWE, that gives limitations to, if this person or if this booster pays more money, they may win, or if this booster may win, you know what I mean? So with wrestling in college, it's all off of your strength and all off of the work you put in, and how much do you want it? So I think he'll be back, because like I said, who wants to go out on an L? When you lose a state championship in football or whatever the case may be, what's the first thing you say? I'm gonna be back next year. So it's just like, I think 70, like you said, 75 wins, a gold medalist. He ain't done. He'll be back. He'll be back.
Do you have anything to add on this, brother?
Yeah, like Julian said, I don't think he's done. 73 and the 1. 73 or 75?
73.
73, yeah.
Okay.
So 73 and 1. It's like he said, you don't want to go out on a loss. You got to come back, and reclaim your title. So that's what I think he'll do, is he'll come back stronger, better, faster, and reclaim this title.
Well, I'm excited to see it, gentlemen. Now, after that, diving into the world of professional wrestling, folks, John Cena has been a cornerstone of WWE for almost 2 decades, the embodiment of the company's never give up mantra. He was always the fan favorite, the ultimate good guy, and the hero of the WWE Universe. But at Elimination Chamber, Cena flipped the script. After years of sticking to his all-American, never say die persona, he turned his back on it all, revealing a much darker side to his character. The fans who once cheered him relentlessly were stunned as Cena made it clear he's done playing the hero. Now Cena is embracing a heel persona. He's self-centered, unapologetic, and ready to redefine himself. And a huge shift of WWE's landscape, the big question is, what does this mean for his legacy, and how will fans react moving forward? It's a bold move. It could completely change the direction of his career. Will, what's your whole thought on this Cena heel run so far?
Not gonna lie, it hurt. I would be lying if I said a tear didn't drop from my eye when I was watching Elimination Chamber when The Rock, did his neck like this, and Cena, his heel came out, and that was my childhood hero. I've been watching WWE since I was like 5 years old, and he was one of the first superstars I watched. So for him to turn heel at this moment in his career, because he's supposed to be done after 2025, it was definitely a shock. Definitely a shock to me, my friends that watch WWE as well. But yeah, I'm definitely shocked. But I think he's doing well. These past 2 promos with him and Cody on Monday Night Raw, they've been international, so the Raw's been starting at 3 and 4 o'clock. He's done good as a heel persona. So, I mean, he claims he's not a heel. He's claiming he's not a babyface. He said he's a human being. So I guess we'll see where that takes him for WrestleMania when he faces Cody for the title.
All right, well, thank you, Will. Now on some of his newest work, he says he's going to win the belt and go home with it. What's your thoughts on that?
I honestly don't know what to feel about that. Honestly, it's like he did come out with the spinner belt, and a lot of people thought it was dumb. I remember when he came out with the spinner belt, and a lot of people thought it was not needed, but it really came out to be a very iconic belt. Yeah, especially that him, CM Punk, Triple H, all had that belt during the time before they changed. I think it was like 2016 when they changed from the spinner belt.
Like that.
So it definitely strikes a nerve in the system. So yeah, I think he will solidify. If he wins at Mania, I think he will actually do it when he retires.
Man, it's a tough thing to see the man, your childhood hero.
No, it's crazy.
Turn into the darkness, brother. Oh. But thank you for your words on that.
No problem.
Making our way back home, the Tennessee Titans hold the #1 pick in the draft. But who should they take? Nasiah Steele and Samuel Rutherford find out what students think about the Titans' big decision.
So, guys, is it a good year to have the #1 pick in the draft?
I believe so.
Absolutely not.
Any year is a good year to have it.
Of course.
Yes, because we're kind of still in rebuild mode after losing players like Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, people like that. This will be a good rebuild for us. With the options of Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and we just got a good offensive line. So we got this season. I'm not expecting a lot, but it's a lot more to come.
Of course, any team that has the #1 pick is always going to be a good year.
If you were the GM, who would you pick?
If I was GM for the Titans, I had a #1 pick. I'm picking Cam Ward, especially with all the offensive line moves we made over this offseason.
If I was the Titans GM, I'm definitely going quarterback because that's the name of the league now.
I would draft Cam Ward. I think he's a beast.
I would consider trading it. I don't think there's a good quarterback prospect. I would maybe get more picks to get more depth in the lineup.
I mean, I know Travis Hunter is like a once-in-a-lifetime generational player, but as of right now, what we need is a quarterback. I feel like Will Levis, he's all right, but he's just not like that, what Cam Ward can be.
I'm definitely driving Travis Hunter. He can play both positions, so I'll definitely pick him #1.
I think we're building to get Cam Ward in the first pick.
So you're choosing Cam Ward?
Yes.
Nasiah Steele and Samuel Rutherford. Thank you. That was some great work from those two guys. Let's grow on that. The Tennessee Titans hold the #1 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, giving them a chance to address key needs. They could take a quarterback like Cam Ward to solve their long-term QB dilemma. Alternatively, what are some elite playmakers the Titans should look to with the #1 pick? Should they focus on quarterback, or is it time to build around other positions? Brock, what do you got to say about this?
So I'd say they need to focus on other positions because this is not a great quarterback class with only Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders coming out. With Shedeur, I think Deion, he's going to put his foot down with him coming to Tennessee, almost like the Mannings did back in the day with the Eli and Phillip Rivers trade. But, I mean, they need to focus more on the defense. They've signed a couple good offensive linemen, one coming from Detroit, the other one from Pittsburgh. So I think we're good and set on the line. But, yeah, they just need – because they just have Sweat and Big Jeff on their offensive line. They've let a lot of their cornerbacks go. Awuzie just signed another deal for a league minimum. I think it was in Baltimore. So, yeah, that secondary needs to be and the linebacking core needs to be really beefed up. And they need to also focus on wide receiver because, I mean, they got what's the receiver's name?
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Ridley. And then they lost their biggest production when they let NWI walk to Miami. That's 9 touchdowns right there. He had last season. That's all he did was catch touchdowns. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a work in progress, but they hired a good front office that has, I think, like 150 years combined experience. So these guys know what they're doing. I mean, you know, the GM they have now, Borgonzi, he was in the room when KC drafted Patrick Mahomes. So he knows what he's looking at, and he's brought in the right crew to kind of, you know, sift around a little bit.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Brock. That was amazing. Ju, what do you have to add on that?
I don't know. I truly don't know what I think the Titans should get. You know, there's plenty of great athletes going into the draft this year. We got, you know, Travis Hunter, the two-way player. You got Ashton Genty, the runner-up for the Heisman. Cam Ward, Shador. There's so many great athletes going into the draft this year. I couldn't quite sit here and tell you what I think the Titans need. I think they just need a key playmaker. I don't know where it could be. I don't know if it needs to be in the quarterback field, the wide receiver room, the defensive room. I don't know what they need, but I do feel like they just need a key playmaker on the field to just set the difference and change the trajectory of their team.
All right. Well, thank you, Ju. What about you, Will?
As a long-term Titans fan myself, I think.
I'm sorry.
Okay, not too much. I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft, and I think it's not even close. I don't believe in Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe is a heck of an athlete, but he's not a quarterback. Shador holds the ball for too long. Quinn Ewers, he was okay in Texas, but Cam Ward, he just has like a skill set that a lot of other quarterbacks in this draft do not have. He's mobile. He can get it out of the pocket if he needs to, which is probably going to be the case because our whole line is going to have to build some chemistry during the off-season camp and mini camp, and then especially for the start of the season. But I mean, I've seen some talks about them getting Cam Ward. Before Cam Ward, I saw Abdul Carter, the edge out of Penn State. He could be a good addition to our team, along with Big Jeff and Tavondre Sweat, man in the middle. So I think the Titans should select Cam Ward, especially with all the offensive line moves that we made, getting Kevin Ziegler, getting Dan Moore Jr., putting J.C. Latham back at right tackle. So I think they're going to pick Cam Ward, and I think it's a good decision to make. I think Borgonzi knows what he's doing.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Will. We've been all around the country, but let's stop the bus back in Clarksville. Coming full circle and ending us out with some APSU basketball. Will, let's start by talking about APSU season as a whole. What do you think was the biggest takeaway from this year? Was there a turning point in the season that shaped their overall performance?
Well, I mean, the Govs were a decent team this year. I went to a couple of games myself. They did not have a big manning the middle, especially when they lost Say-Wit throughout towards the end of the year. But their season, if I can describe the season in one word, it'd be perseverance. What they've been through, losing Say, Coach Gibson having to call some of the young guys to help this team, especially with Haney and LJ and all the other playmakers on the team. But I think perseverance is the word to describe our season this year.
That's great, Will. That's some great insight. What do you think APSU needs to improve on next season? Are there any key areas they can focus on to become more competitive?
Like I said earlier, just get a real big. Just get a good, decent big with some good size. I ain't going to say nothing like 7 foot, 7'1". Probably like a good 6'10", 6'11", that can grab rebounds. That was their big issue. They couldn't grab any rebounds on the defensive side and on the offensive side. Especially when they lost Say-Wit, they had to run McCubbin at the 5. So, and then also I need, Coach Gibson. The 2-3 zone is not working this year. I need him to get out of that 2-3 because teams are like just opening up the 2-3 so fast. It's like, what's the point of running it? So, get out of that 2-3 and get a big through the transfer portal. I think they will have a real shot next year at being the March Madness.
All right. Well, thank you, Will. Julian, looking at the talent on APSU's roster, do you think they have the pieces in place to have a stronger push next season? If they address certain areas, how far do you think they could go?
Yeah, I think they have. The correct pieces in place. They have that freshman that just won. Tate McCubbin, who just won the freshman or ASUN Player of the Year, and then the one player with the one I never can remember his name. Hansel. Yeah, Emmanuel Hansel. They have two great players on the team. Just like you said, they need to get out of that 2-3. They need to figure out how they want to run their team together and then come together as a team more. They could go deep in the playoffs next year. They could even try to potentially make it to March Madness. They have the team for it. They probably could just use a big. They need a big to get them rebounds, and then they have playmakers on the end. So as long as you get the ball in the playmakers' hands and get those rebounds and flip out of the 2-3, you should be good.
All right, Will, let's look ahead a bit with some key players returning next season. What does APSU need to do to improve on their overall game? Is it leadership, defense, or something else?
I believe they had good leadership in Coach Gibson, and along with the older guys on the team, I really, like I said, me and Julian just stated, they need a big. And also, and like I said earlier, you need to get out of that 2-3. That 2-3 is not working, especially against when they played North Alabama. That did not work at all because North Alabama had a real 6'10", 6'11" big, and it was just too much for them. So I believe leadership. They have good leadership in Coach Gibson. I believe in him as a head coach of the APSU basketball team. But yeah, like I said, just need a big and get out of that 2-3. We'll be all good.
All right. Well, thank you, Will, again. Brock, leadership has been mentioned as a crucial aspect. What role do you think leadership will play in the team's success?
I mean, leadership always, has the biggest role of it all because, wherever your leaders go, you follow. If you don't have great leadership, then you're not going to go anywhere. But yeah, if some of these young guys will step up to the freshmen, be sophomores next year. If they'll step up in that leadership role and help out the seniors and juniors, this team has a really good shot of going pretty far next year.
All right. Well, thank you for that insight, Brock. Julian, how do you see APSU's coaching staff evolving next year? Are there any strategies or adjustments they should focus on?
Focus on getting the ball to Tate. Obviously, he won the ASUN freshman player of the year. Getting out of that 2-3. They just need to work better as a team. I think the coaching staff just needs to figure out who is going to be their guy, who's going to be their big, and how they want to run their defense, and everything will come together for them.
All right, well, thank you, Julian. That's all for today's show. APSU may not be in March Madness, but their future is bright. Big thanks to my panelists and to everyone watching. That wraps up our March Madness edition of our live studio show. Thanks to our crew behind the scenes and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. And don't forget to follow us for more updates, and we'll see you next time. And as always, let's go Peay!
This team will be interesting. What kind of story